We've got a large team of chef lecturers, 14 of us alone in the cooking side, and a vast amount of experience and knowledge in every facet of cooking, but like myself, we don't often stop and analyse the words we use in the lessons, some of which can have double meanings or be terms that students wouldn't use in normal life. To help them, we produce lesson plans, and it takes you through what you've got to do, what the theory point is, what you're going to talk about in theory, any use of resources. There's a quiz on this one, which is quite a good one. And at the bottom there, we put terms and vocabulary, things like straightforward stimulate, classified, combination, words that can be very confusing, but we use just naturally without thinking about it. Some of these happen. It just gives the tutor a heads up. These words are coming up. Make sure people understand them. The problem of students losing interest, focus, or even consciousness during theory lessons is difficult. We all have limited scope for the activities and exercises. You've got a lot of technical information to get over to them in 6 months, and you only have a limited amount of time to do exercises and things like that for holding their attention. So we also find that we have large theory classes. Can be up to about 40 in the theory class at any one time. So handing out little exercises that you've got to collect in later and discuss doesn't work. There isn't the time, and you don't have the attention span for it. Also, if you ever go off the subject of cookery itself and try and do just theoretical stuff, there's a vocal majority in the group who will just get so disruptive that it's a futile exercise. So, as I said earlier, a lot of our students have quite low literacy and numeracy levels, and there's often no interest in anything other than the practical side of the course. So what can you do to break up the lesson and retain their attention? One thing we've found very successful is to use laminated cards printed with, and for instance, this is terms relating to stock. Now, stock is coloured water and flavoured water. So can you imagine the ones on the left there are the terms that actually relate to stock? If you look at some of the words there, they're pretty baffling stuff. The other ones are just random catering terms, nothing to do with stock. So all they have to do, the tutor has to do, is dump a pack of the cards randomly into each table and say, sort them out. And then they get a noisy 5–10 minutes while they argue over which one goes where. And it also gives them experience of handling words like Clostridium perfringens and cartouche and fumet de poisson, which is fish stock, if you want to know. And it's a nice physical exercise, all over and done with very quickly, and you can get their attention back again. Another one here, where do you put food? Do you put it in the fridge, the dry store, or the freezer? And they've got to sort these all out in a quick succession, moving the cards about. It's nice and physical. And it also brings up contentious ones like anchovies. Well, are they opened or not opened? If they're not opened, you can go in the dry store. If they're opened, they have to go in the fridge. So they're quite successful. Another one we've just used is different parts of the world, different dishes from that country, parts of the world, and then descriptions of them. That one obviously takes a bit more table space and a bit more time. There are some subjects we teach, like nutrition, which menu costing, food safety, that are allocated more time. Each one usually about 4 hours. The lesson structure is much the same, they're just 4 times less popular with the students. We're actually working on the theory side of our course to try and brighten up a bit. These are the subjects that make the highest demands on our students' literacy and numeracy abilities, and at the same time they really challenge their concentration and comprehension levels. So again, handing out something for the kinesthetic learner, you have a high proportion of kinesthetic learners in cookery, it's a good way of maintaining their attention. This one's from nutrition. And we hand them out that, and some counters with numbers on them, and plus some equal signs as well. And you say, right, okay, which of those everyday cooking ingredients had the highest fat content? And they've got to get them 1 to 8. Anyone want to guess? Highest one? Yes, well done. Highest one is the cheese by quite some way. And then if you go on with more of the lesson, more of the text, and then when they start to get a bit bored and disruptive, you can hit with another one. The other one I wrote down was which one would have the highest calories of those? Again, you sort them out. Anyone know? The Twix, yeah, by quite some way again. And it's also because, like, if you come to fat, there's the tuna and the canned sweet corn have no fat at all, so they've got to work that to an equals 7. So it's quite a good numeracy exercise as well. But the main point of what I was wanting to get to today, the area we've spent the most time in is with e-learning. When we were asked to put our program onto the e-learning system, we did just that. We just went and typed up everything we could think about on each subject and put it on e-learning. It looked a bit like that. We thought that the student would read it, help them with their lessons, and then they would print it off free of charge and bind it together and make a cookery book to take away. It lasted for a year. In that time, I know of one student that did that, and I don't believe she read a fraction of it. So we had to find some way to make it more attractive to them. And the thing with the students is they're used to IT, which is text as we use it, but it's mostly the Facebooks, the social media sites, which do not look anything like that. So what we did was brighten up. Introduction to pastry. It's got the menu down the side. They can click the buttons, get into it. It's got a nice design to it. It's got pictures, it's got colours. It looks so much less intimidating. It looks inviting to read. It's actually exactly the same text, just a different format, just arranged differently.